Tanya and I have been friends for years now, and we met kind of haphazardly years ago, and she was the host of A&E's Sell This House, and it was one of the top shows on the channel in our space, you know, doing flips and remodels on houses, and I was just absolutely blown away by how personal she is, how friendly is she, how nice she is for being on TV for 20-something years. Miss World Canada, by the way. Any Canadians in the house? I know we have a couple. 3, awesome. Miss World Canada, probably 4 or 5 years ago-ish. You know, when I think of Tanya Mamme, she is literally the top of the food chain when it comes to TV and the spaces that we're living in with real estate, with home improvement shows. Anybody watch some of the home improvement shows, Sell This House and all those kind of shows, right? I got my DVRs, got like 90 hours of that stuff in there. And I really want to take a moment to appreciate her for coming to share with us. Tomorrow, she's going to teach about how to master the spotlight, like living in your real power in video, which is where everything is. I've been coaching for Tom Ferry. Well, I'm not now, but I coached for Tom Ferry for 4 years. And Tom forced us to go into video. And I mean forced. Because I used to like coach in my underwear, walking around the kitchen with a headset on, making eggs. And I'd be coaching somebody on my, headset. And he's like, you have to be on video now. And I'm like, that's not really fun, right? I have to be on Zoom all day long. I remember this. And we resisted like crazy when that happened. But he's a visionary. And he knew that that was the future. And this is like 9 years ago. He knew that was the future. And they've been doing that ever since. You have to coach on Zoom. You have to coach on some kind of platform that's video so you can have this deeper relationship. And it's absolutely true. And tomorrow she's going to teach you how to have some of those deeper relationships. And tonight she's going to share a little kind of a sneaker on you of what Tanya Mamme is all about, how you can lean into that. She's a global superstar, guys. We're in a small room here on a Friday night. Think about that. We're in a small room, and you get to share the stage with somebody like Tanya Mamme. With that, please come up, my friend, Tanya Mamme.
I can get down, I can get lonely every time I think about the
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, everybody. So happy to be here. Thank you. Let's give it up, too, for Randy and Kirsty for putting this on. I mean, seriously now. Thank you. So Randy said to me literally like 5 days ago, and he says, I know that you're doing the workshop on Saturday, but I really, can you speak on Friday? Just tell them about your life. And I said, oh, okay, all right, I'll tell them. Do you want me to tell them like the truth, or do you want me to, or do you just, can I just sort of skirt by it? And so I really, honestly, I'm just being completely honest. I had to really think about it because I have quite the story of adversity that I want to share. And yes, I've been on TV for a very long time, but what I've been through is a very interesting journey. And I was like, gosh, all right, I teach vulnerability and I teach authenticity on camera. And I thought, so the least I could do is tell you the truth to my story. You okay with that? No judgment? Because wait, I'm going to take you on quite the ride. So have you ever been to a point in your life when you just couldn't take it anymore? You're done, right? So I came to a point in my career. These are all the shows that I've done through the years and more, but these are some of the ones, the home design shows I've done. I did a movie there with Corey Feldman and Terror Inside, yes. I don't know if you should watch it, but anyway. Yeah, me and Corey. But anyway, I did come to a point in my career where I knew that I was worth more, and I wasn't going to take another day. And those were the last few words that I said when I walked off the set of the show. And I walked away from Hollywood, and I walked away for good. So, there's good Hollywood, and I totally experienced that. I was on the A&E network. If you guys saw Sell This House and Move This House and Sell This House Extreme, A&E is an awesome, awesome network. I loved working for A&E, but I also worked for a lot of other networks, and I've shot over 50 infomercials and 30 commercials. I lived that life. I mean, from the outside, there were people that would say, oh my God, look at her. She's on the red carpet. She's dating celebrities. And look at all the parties she gets to go to. And look at the life she's living. Wow, she gets to do this and that. Flying all over the world, private jets. Yeah, I did experience it all. But inside, I was dying inside. Because there's also bad Hollywood. And have you guys heard all the stories? Have you heard all the stories? Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get into the details, but let's just say that I was pretty much a casualty of all those stories you've heard. I was outcast from the business. And the story goes on, but I remember the day when I walked off set that day because I couldn't take being yelled and screamed at one more time. My daughter was on the show with me. And I loved doing what I loved being on TV. I loved my job. But you know, back in the day, executive producers used to yell and scream at talent so that they wouldn't ask for a raise. It was kind of a tactic. And so I went home that day and I said, you know, if it happens to me one more time, I can't take it anymore. I got to quit. So I go to work. And here I am, you know, the camera lights go on, and hey, I'm Tanya Mamme, and welcome to this show that I'm on. And second those lights go out, the yelling and screaming in front of, you know, at least 70 other people on set. I wasn't the only one that was being yelled and screamed at. But I realized that I couldn't take it anymore, so I quit. And I was faced with that decision, with staying and being, you know, a piece of me being torn away every single day. I would go to work, and that's what I experienced, and I'd go back home to a marriage that wasn't working either. Or I could take a chance, and I could explore the possibilities on the other side. So that's what I did, on a hope. But unfortunately for me, I was outcast from the business for about 7 years. Couldn't get a job. I was up for 2 other TV shows that my screen tests automatically got canceled a few days before I was supposed to test, mysteriously. And I fell into a massive, massive, massive depression. So these pictures that you see right here are some of the very few where I was very depressed. This is what everybody saw on the outside, but on the inside, this is what was going on. So I fell into a huge depression. I don't know if any of you have been there, but the phone stopped ringing, friends stopped calling, no more red carpet events. My life was totally taken away from me. I lost all my money. I lost everything. And soon I found myself in a 2-bedroom, bottom floor, very dark apartment. I hid from the world for about 7 years, went off of social media, nobody knew what happened to me. But you know, the hardest thing with all of this is that it all happened publicly. And it was real tough. And when something like that happens, and I don't know if any of you have really hit rock bottom. I know, Andrea, you mentioned you went through a lot the last couple of years. I get it. But you lose your self-worth. You're like, who am I? I don't want to go to any parties. I don't want to tell people who I am anymore because I'm not anybody. All these things that you see here, I lost my marriage. I lost my self-identity, my self-worth, made really bad decisions. I just want you to know, if you're ever in rock bottom, do not make any business decisions. I learned the hard way, and I did lose everything. So one day, my girlfriend calls me. She's like, Tanya, now this is the part I'm going to tell you, and I hope you guys don't judge me, but you know what? I got myself into this situation. It just happened, and it's my story. So she called me, she says, Tanya, she says, I know you've been going through so much. And she says, so you got to come over to my house next weekend. And I was like, okay, well, why? And she says, because we're doing an ayahuasca ceremony. And I said, what's that? She goes, don't ask, just bring a pillow and a blanket and come over to my house. So I said, okay, sure. All right, here we go. I'm going to get to this in a minute. So I show up and I sit down and I'm like, wow, this is weird. This is not, I thought this was going to be fun, dancing. No, it's just the tension in the room was crazy, right? So the shaman walks in and we start doing this whole ceremony and she gives me this cup and I drink this stuff and then I drink another one. I'm like, this is not working. I'm drinking another one. 5 cups later. Oh yeah, 5 cups later. So I get up and I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed, I'm done. So I walk down the hallway, walking down the hallway, walk down this hallway, walk down that hallway, and I shut the door and I'm laying in bed. And boom, then it happened. So all I'm gonna tell you is this, all right? From the outside, when you've had that much ayahuasca, this is what your body looks like. No joke, I'm laying in bed. But on the inside, your soul and your whole being is going like this. It was wild. And I was like, oh my God, I saw the stars and the sun and the moon, and my parents showed up and told me all this stuff about how many bad decisions I made and why I made them. And I'm just like, wow. And then it starts talking to me. What is this? And it said, you know what? You're meant for bigger things. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to use your God-given gifts, and I want you to interview 100 people that hit rock bottom. And your answers will be there. I want you to interview 100 people that hit rock bottom and got out of it, and then write a book, and then get on stage and start talking about it. Today's my first day, and I'm on stages talking about it. Yeah. So, before I get to that one. So the first thing that it had said a whole bunch of things, but I started down that journey. Here I am. I'm interviewing 100 people. Well, I started anyway. So, but after that whole situation happened, about a week later, I'm like, okay, I called my friend Andy, and I was like, Andy, he has a studio, and I said, okay, I got to start this podcast, and it's got to be called Life Masters, and anybody who hit rock bottom and got out of it. And meanwhile, it was not difficult to find people to be on the podcast. So there I go. I start signing up people, and I start interviewing people. And about 25, 30, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I hate this. If you've ever been in rock bottom, especially when you've lost all your money, and you're hanging around people that are like fabulously living the fabulous life, it doesn't feel too good. So I was like, I'm not having fun. You know what that feels like? You know what I mean? When you're like, you have no money, and everybody that you're interviewing, or anyone that you're around, they have this beautiful life. And I'm like, man, I'm tired of this. So then about 50 or 60, 70 interviews later, I started noticing that there were 10 things that they all did, all the same things that they did to get out of rock bottom. So I thought, well, I got to implement this into my own life. So I did. Here's my Life Masters. I had Willie Galt on there, a few other famous people on there, amazing human beings. So I did. And one of the first things that it said to me, okay, or that I learned from interviewing I was around 60 or 70, was be in nature. Now, these might seem like really kind of normal things you've heard before, but it was done, like, have you ever actually done it? So here I am, I got on my headphones, and if you live in LA, I start hiking up Fryman Canyon. Not in heels, but I was hiking up Fryman Canyon. So here I go, every day listening to like Joe Dispenza and positive stuff. And one thing I learned, you got to get all of that negativity out of your life, including the friends, those people, the people that don't return your text messages, your calls, people that whenever you're around them, they don't make you feel too good about yourself. Submerge yourself in nature. Be selfish. And go out there and make the decisions that you need to make. Be selfish. Say, you know what? No, I'm not going to that party. Because I don't want to go to that party. I don't like the people that are at that party. The next thing it told me, and there's 10 of them, but I can only share a few of them with you today, is you got to stop living in the past. Oh, I was so attached to the accolades. I was so attached to my life, the awards, the titles. That's all I did. I was like, I wish I could have, would have done this and done that and done this. And I just lived, and I was like, I didn't like who I'd become. But once you stop living in the past, you can celebrate your past. I look back now and I'm like, it's pretty cool, all this stuff I did. That was super fun. But it doesn't happen overnight. And then the last thing you want to do is you don't want to be living in the future. There's two ways that we live in the future, okay? There's one where it's like the doomsday, which is where I was when I was in rock bottom, like, oh my God, if I do this and that, and I don't make my money back, blah, 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 I'm going to be homeless. We all tell stories. You guys know when you're telling yourself a story? But the future doesn't even exist. And the past is gone. And we have such a gift to live in the present. So I'm going to show you something. So let's say that I'm always trying to get over there. You know the people that are always striving to get over there. And when you're in the now, they're not really present. You're not present with your kids. You're not present with your family. Because you're always living over there. But this is what happens. Okay, so I want to get over there. So I'm going to start walking over there. But then when I get here. You're not there because there doesn't exist. There is no there. All right, let's try and get over there, but I want to be over there. So I'm there, but I'm not there. I'm actually right here. There's a lot of power in being in the present. Give yourself that gift of being in the present. That's what it is. It's a present. Give that present to the people in front of you, your kids, your families. Pay attention. Don't be on the phone all the time. So I implemented these 10 things into my life. I could go on and tell you all the rest. And you know what happened to me? Miracles happened. Miracles happened. What happened was, that show right there, Smart Home Nation, I'm the creator, executive producer, and the host on that show, came back in 3 months. I was out of work for 7 years. And my life fully came back in 3 months. I couldn't believe it. And then I was on the show, Sell This House, Sell This House. I'm hoping some of you guys might have seen that show from back in the day. It was off the air for 7 years, and then it came back. A&E calls me, and they say, hey, we want you to host the show. The show's coming back. I mean, I couldn't believe this. I had hit rock bottom, you guys, lost everything. And then I start winning awards again. And then you know what? I'm flying around doing all this stuff. I'm gone for 4 to 6 months away from my little girl. I got everything I wanted back. And then I realized I don't want it anymore. So then what? The difference is that I know who I am now. Because that's what adversity does. It makes you stronger. You don't need the titles anymore. None of it matters anymore. Not when you go through something like that. Because you know who you are. So I never forget the day when my little daughter ran up to me and she's like, Mommy, I'm so proud of you. I hadn't seen her in 6 months. I'm so proud of you, Mom. Oh my goodness, you're so amazing. I watch you on TV every day. But I could see the disappointment in her eyes. I was reunited with her after not seeing her for 6 months. And I said to her right then and there on that spot, I said, you know what, Ava? How'd you like it if I never got on an airplane again for more than 2 weeks without you? And so it was in that decision that I decided that I wanted to be a mom. That was the next chapter in my life. I'm a mom. I love being a mom. How many moms love being a mom? How many dads love being a dad? It's the best. And so that's what I've been doing. And so I thought, well, my next chapter is I want to give back. So I started something called Mastering the Spotlight. You guys will hear about that a little bit more tomorrow. Basically, I teach confidence on camera and everything I learned from being on TV for 25 years. Help you become the face of your brand. So if you want to talk to me, come up to me. I want to know who you are. If you feel left behind in social media, let me know. Then Randy comes back. So you know Randy tried to get me to partner up with him like 5 years ago. And I'm like, I don't know if it's the right time, da-da-da. And he kept asking and kept asking and kept asking. And then about 3 months ago, this happened. So I'm in it with you now. What a journey it's been, and thank you so much. But I just want to say, you guys, if you're ever facing adversity, you don't have to see the entire staircase. It's from Martin Luther King. Just take the first step. Thank you.